Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wild Chats, your home for everything animals. I am Ryan. That over there is Maria.
Hi.
How you doing today, Mar?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right.
Oh, good.
So today I decided to we gave the alligators their due. I think it was probably our second video that we did, so we were still warming up to everything, and I decided it was Crocodile's turn today.
Okay.
I decided we had fun doing alligator. We had some great clips, and since you are in Florida, one of the only places that has alligators and crocodiles together, I figured, do you have any fun stories or impressions or surprises when it comes to crocodiles?
Unfortunately, I have not. Like, I
Okay.
haven't been in an area where both will be there.
Okay.
And most people, the problem is most people confuse them so much that if they tell you it's an alligator, it could have been a crocodile, especially if the water is brackish.
Okay.
Um, so unfortunately, I'm not sure.
Have you ever seen one in person, like even in a zoo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They're
What
impressive.
about them kind of impressed you the most, or were you surprised by?
Size wise, first of all,
Okay.
crocodiles are bigger than you think in the sense of like just when you see them, you realize they're about the size of a truck. These things are humongous as they grow. And of course, the crocodiles from Australia, the salties, are the biggest of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know what happened. I lost
We got a
internet.
little freeze.
You
Do you?
okay there?
Yeah. Do you have us now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All
It got
right.
me discombobulated for a second. I don't know what happened or
That's
why I
okay.
was losing power,
I think
but
they're
we're back.
all right. It might have been a little internet kerfuffle. Who knows? Uh,
Well, the entire computer system turned off.
oh, okay. So it was on your end, not my end. All right. I was gonna blame it
Yes.
on my internet, which typically is probably usually the common thing to blame it on. But okay. So we've got
Not you today.
Salties. We got Australia. We've got so you have seen some in person though.
Yes, I was volunteering for MegaCon in Orlando several years ago, and I got the opportunity to hold a Cuban crocodile. And
Okay.
that was just so exciting because even though these were babies, just to know that they're gonna grow taller than me, longer than me, is just it's just incredible.
Yeah. I remember you talking about how soft they were. You were surprised.
Very surprised, very
Okay.
surprised. When you touch their bottom, it just feels like you're touching the top of your knuckles, kind of like that. If that makes
Okay.
any sense.
And by bottom you mean their stomach, not their behinds.
You're right. The bottom of their
Their tummy bottom. Okay. All right. Just clarifying. Maria's not going around goosing all of the animals she comes across. Like bum grab, done. Okay.
the undercarriage that doesn't work either. Behind
No.
underneath.
Yes. Um. So I remember the one of the first times I saw one in the wild. I was surprised by how fast they were. Like the guy was like, when they stand up, they actually are. They're not tall, obviously, but their legs are longer than we think because most of the time they've got their legs along the ground and they're kind of doing like a baby crawl motion, but they can stand up and actually like run and move. I was just really surprised how fast they were on land when they like one of them, and it was like a jog. I know it was nowhere near a full sprint, but they were crossing a road or something, a path in the park that I was in, and he just, I was like, wow, I was really surprised about how fast they move. Well, I came across this clip as I was bouncing around the internet, as I love to do, which is what started this show. And I found a crocodile that was doing its best dolphin impersonation. And I
Okay.
was shocked by how fast these guys move in water. This boat is not like barely cruising. Like that guy is hauling butt down the river near a motor boat.
No pared. You're
Yes.
right. It did do that. I wonder. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
I wonder if the animal was just trying to come out to see what was going on, just following the boat, because that's a very unusual movement for crocodiles.
Yes and no, though. They propel themselves with their tails, so that wasn't. I don't think that was that
Yeah, but their
unusual.
tails are. I don't think their tails go up and down. Their tails
No, they're
usually go.
serpentine. Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
you can still angle within the water to propel yourself up.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. I mean, it's well. I guess I was gonna save it for a little bit later, but we'll just do it now. Um, so basically, there was a study in how crocodiles actually use their bodies, and what they found out was they actually, if you've ever seen a crocodile jumping, what it's doing is it's actually using its tail and it's pressing against the bottom of the river. So you usually see it in really shallow water, and they press their tail against the floor, against the ground essentially, and that's what propels them up into the air. So they've actually learned to hunt like birds and stuff in the air by using that vertical attack strategy. Um, let's see.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it was a little further. Here we go. It was a little. So if you see, he's literally pushing his tail, and then they wiggle their bodies, and then that same serpentine motion of the tail we were talking about is actually what propels them out of the water. And
That is so incredible.
they tuck their arms, and I mean they know how to get pretty aerodynamic.
Yeah, it looked like it. Like it literally just assumed the least resistance for water. I mean, for
Mm-hmm.
air.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible how they have adapted to doing that.
What's interesting though is so a lot of times when we see crocodiles, we're just seeing kind of their head above the water. You just see their eye lines and stuff. And we've talked about this in the alligator video, how sometimes they'll even balance a stick on their nose, and then birds that are building nests during a certain particular time of the year will actually try to grab that stick for their nests. So they're actually using tools to hunt, which is really rare,
It
especially
is. I
in
was reading something
animals.
about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading something about that they said they have only seen it in like a region of, I thought it was Louisiana, where they
Yeah.
have seen them do it in
Mm-hmm.
particular. Like it's not like every crocodile has ever done it. They kind of like figure it out there. And the
Yep.
cool thing about animals, it's gonna be very hard to pass the knowledge across the panhandle to go the way to the Atlantic. That's probably not gonna happen. But it's kind of cool how they can teach the others because they are so smart.
Yeah, they really are intelligent animals. I don't. It's so many animals have so much more intelligence than we give them credit for, but it's so rare also that we see them in their natural environment going about their natural day. Because usually, once you introduce people, it changes their environment or it changes their day, or we're feeding them so they don't need to hunt, or they
Hmm.
get used to humans, so certain behaviors change. So it is one of those things where it's really hard. So the person in the study, there was the next study that I was reading about, because that one led me into another one. And I want to make sure I get the information right here. Um, so basically, they found out that, excuse me, just 1 minute. I don't have my right document open. So they had heard some reports about crocodiles climbing trees. And
Hmm.
somebody at a university decided they were actually going to do a study of this. And it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go down to like my local area where crocodiles hang out and see if this happens. Um, a Dr. Vladimir Denetis from the University of Tennessee actually conducted research in Africa, Australia, and the Americas, specifically looking for that trait. I'm sure he was studying other things while he was there with these animals, but they found out there were 4 different crocodilian species that climb trees.
Okay.
And saltwater and freshwater crocodiles were included in that group. But what they found was they became arboreal in areas where there wasn't a lot of area for them to bask. Because everybody knows that crocodiles are lizards, which are cold blooded, so they need the heat of the sun to regulate body temperature. So most of the time when we see them in the States, it's usually in open areas, so they can get to
Yes.
a rock
Hmm.
or somewhere in the sun. Where there are certain populations of crocodilian that live in areas that are more canopied, that are more shaded. And those are the areas that he found that they actually went and would climb the trees all the way to the tops of the canopies to be able to get the sun to bask so they could regulate their body
Can
temperature.
you imagine? I'm gonna go not a tangent, but just
Okay.
the thought of seeing instead of a drop bear, like we've talked
Okay.
about in a couple of videos, that the koala, you will never think it will be an aggressive animal in Australia, and they created this cryptid animal called the drop bear that will eat people. Now we have the croc, you know,
Very real.
I mean, this is no joke. And the thing is, it's scary. Just the thought.
It's so funny because as human beings, even when we're walking through a forest or an area that has a lot of vegetation or cliffs or whatever it might be, it's weird how our spatial awareness, even though we're becoming more aware so we can be more secure, it's still very ground level. Like you see it in horror movies and stuff where people just don't look up. It's like, just look up, you idiot. You've looked left, right, behind you. There's one more dimension. Look up. Look up.
That's kind of scary.
The amount of, I mean, snakes climb trees and have been known to basically fall down onto people. Spiders.
Yeah, but I'm
have
expected I will be more okay seeing, like, I've actually witnessed fish falling. But that's because an eagle grabbed it and the fish was too big and the animal couldn't, not an eagle, but any of the raptors, because I don't know which critter it was, tried to grab it, stole it from, from the nearby river, couldn't hold it and dropped it right in front of us. And the fish was still alive. And I felt so bad because we were too far from the water to go drop it off.
Okay.
And then you don't know what internal injuries it may have, but just seeing or thinking of a crocodile,
Okay.
my size.
So you basically at that point just opened up your like Smurf lunchbox and then you just put the fish inside for later for cooking for your dinner while
I was
camping?
actually thinking about telling my family who was there, like, shall we grab it and cook it? I mean, I don't want this animal to be, unfortunately, wasted.
Okay.
It look in good condition, but you don't know if the animal
Gotcha.
could survive being put in water again.
Gotcha. Or the bird dropped it because it sensed that there was something wrong with the fish and it was a self-defense thing of like, I'm not eating that thing.
You never know. I mean, that's a very interesting concept. But if you grab it from the water, I doubt you'll be like, does this smell right to you?
So many animals do have that innate ability. That's why they always say if you're out in the wilderness, especially if you're on horseback, always drink from the water your horse drinks from. Because animals have abilities. I mean, we were talking about it in, I don't remember if it was the cat dog video or what it was, but how there's a theory that part of the reason why cats don't like water is because of all the chemicals and stuff we put in our water in order to clean it and process it for
It was
human
actually in the
drinking.
literally on the cat video
Okay.
that
But
we
yeah,
did on the fact video.
okay. That was one of the things that they talked about that they said, well, that might be one of the reasons cats actually don't like water because the chlorine in your pool, like you're rarely going to put them in a body of water that isn't treated in some way, shape, or form. So,
Exactly.
but so backtracking to what I was coming to originally. So what we see them with their eyes and their nose sticking out of the water usually, and that's all we see. What?
I'm just still thinking of like
About
where
fish?
you were going, what you've been talking about, and
Well, we were
yes.
talking about sticks, and then the sticks got us into hunting, and then the hunting got us into vertical strikes, and then we got into basking, and we just take the whole backside of my video out, and I kind of moved those to. We're rolling with it. We're going.
Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
But here's the fun part, because I was leading up to a joke, and then I got all informational. So now all of my.
Like, oops, now we don't have anything else. Okay.
Hey, come on. No, so basically, usually you see its little nose. It might be balancing a stick to catch a bird, but what you rarely see is what it looks like underneath the water. This is how scary
Oh, look at it! Look at it! Look at it! How it positions itself.
If it was in the same muddy water, you wouldn't get to see how like unassuming they really are where they're just hanging out floating.
What I love is that you will think, like, honestly, you would think that their bodies will be completely out because you see their back little bump. But this one, like, that's more normal, what you think you will see. And then as soon as he drops his entire body and relaxes it, that is a whole different dimension going on there.
Again, I think that's a little bit of what I mean, this got popular on the internet because it was just kind of like a joke of like, oh, you think it's intimidating, but look how casual he is. But I think it plays really well into what I was talking about their vertical strikes. He didn't even move
Yes.
his head level, and he was able to drop his body, get his tail towards the bottom. So if a bird was coming, he could go from horizontal to vertical to strike, and
Good
nobody would
point.
see the difference.
Good point.
So I
That's
thought,
that is beautiful and terrifying at the same time. When I was a kid, there was a soap opera or a show. I don't remember much because in the past we used to have a lot of imported shows. So it
okay,
might have been a show from here, and it was a story about a girl who fell into a lake in Florida,
okay,
and a crocodile attacked her and all
okay,
that stuff. And when I watched it, I was a child, so I was mortified by the thought of swimming near alligators or crocodiles. But
gotcha.
now, when you see them and you learn about their behaviors and how good, and we talked about this, but they're such good parents, and
Hmm.
how they really don't want to attack humans, they really don't have any desire. We're too big for them.
Yeah.
It kind of takes away the fear of it. Still, you gotta have respect, like anything. And even Disney puts signs that says "Beware of alligators and crocodiles,"
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
because you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But usually, when you see them around here, I just get so excited because they're so beautiful, and
Hmm.
because I know how powerful they could be, and because we have otters behind us. So I'm like, oh, please, please don't. The otters can actually eat the alligators more until the alligators grow. So
Yes.
for the first several years, crocodiles are actually great meals for animals. Like they're great protein for raccoons, otters,
Hmm.
hippopotamus. If you're in Africa, like I was
I
reading
was like,
somewhere
is there
that said
hippopotamus running around by your house? Or
in
what?
Africa. I said in Africa.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Unless
The
you're in
question was
Colombia, you do have hippopotamus and they're caimans, which are tiny, tiny, tiny. So those are
yes.
actually praise for
Yes.
hippos. I was
Yes.
reading somewhere that said that hippopotamus are so strong that they can crush, like baby hippos almost use them like chew toys.
Okay.
That was the simplified version of it. It wasn't
Crocodiles
that
we're talking
simple.
about.
Huh?
Crocodiles we're talking about. Yeah, well, that's the other thing too about hippos is they don't have pointy teeth, so it has to all be done out of just sheer force because their teeth are they're just flat. I mean, there's not yeah, their teeth are in no way pointed, so it has to all be jaw strength. That yeah, I never
They
really
do
thought.
have quite a jaw strength, so they're pretty neat.
Yeah, it just depends. Certain animals are set up, I think, for defense against other animals pretty well. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, when it comes to crocodiles, there's not too many animals that I think can hold up. Yes, they don't have much strength when they open their mouth, which is why a rubber band can actually keep an alligator or a crocodile's mouth closed from opening because their muscles that open are like 1/20th the strength of the ones that actually close their mouth.
Yep.
But there's certain animals that are organized in such a way that they can defend themselves, and this is one of those guys. We hope. I haven't seen the end of it.
Oh,
It might not go well, so I don't. He's trying to run away, but his little footsies aren't on the ground, so
aw.
he's not going anywhere. Now
And I,
could be a battle of wills. Maria loves this stuff. This is her favorite thing.
oh, come on.
And
I wonder if he was just playing with it.
I like how he doesn't even try to go chase it. He's just like, whatever. Yeah, that whole biting thing didn't work. I'm done.
What a cute turtle. Honestly, that's as scary and as horrible as that may have been. That was actually very incredible how most animals would realize if they could or could not eat the animal. Like you can tell clearly, like, okay, this thing is not gonna fit, or by crashing it, it's just not worth it.
So his mouth looks a little pointed, guys. That's usually how you can tell the difference. Anybody that's like an expert on alligators and crocodiles, I apologize if I mixed an alligator into here. The general rule of thumb is if it's more pointed
Round.
crocodile, more
Yeah.
rounded alligator. This guy's definitely pretty pointed, so I feel confident about my crocodile
I actually
analogy.
was gonna say it's an alligator because it's also very dark skin, and usually the crocodiles are lighter in color.
There's so many different species of crocodilian and stuff though that I go by just the mouth shape for the most part is usually the better rule of thumb.
No, but
Uh,
look at it. It doesn't show teeth. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Like, we are not 100% experts. Like, I love when people are like, oh, yeah, that's
well,
a 10-year-old, blah, 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 so and so. And
could
I'm
you
like,
tell me the ridge behind his neck? See, that first one is a solitary ridge. There's not one on the right, therefore that must be a crocodile. Just made that up completely. Um,
like, I was thinking it actually was very rounded. Oh, right when it closed its mouth, it would have been nice to be able
no,
to
that's
stop it
pretty
and see.
pointed. Like alligators are really rounded. Like I don't think people realize how rounded an alligator's mouth really
Yep.
is. Um,
They look
but
like a flip flop if you think about it.
yes, a crocodile. Actually, an alligator looks closer to a croc, the shoe, than a crocodile is to the shoe because it's not rounded in the front. So those shoes should have been called gators or something, not crocs. I think that would have been a more
There you go.
but, that is what that. I was on an elevator or escalator yesterday, and one of the many warning signs was no wearing Crocs. I'm like, these shoes have become this popular that it's actually like its own symbol on an escalator of warning.
My nephew had his shoe caught up, and this is when they first came out, when Crocs. My nephew, I think, was 8 or 9. So it was several years ago. And now, like you said, you see them, but in that time you didn't, and they were just coming out, and every kid had them because they were like more of a kid thing and comfort thing. And then now they're making a comeback, which I don't understand. Like, I seriously don't understand.
I never wore one. Apparently, hey guys, just so you know, we actually didn't want to talk about the animal crocodiles. We really wanted to talk about the shoe. So we just kind of used 20 minutes to get into the shoe, and then the rest of the show is just going to be about the. No, just kidding. We're not talking about the shoe for 20 minutes. I've never worn one, but as many like hospital people and people that spend all their time on their feet that like them, I don't understand it. To me, it looks like a piece of rubber. I see how that's comfortable. Clearly it is because they sold well and people that are on their feet all day like them. I get the Skechers and the super foam and all that stuff and people in like warehouses that are on their feet all day. Like I get those. When I look at Crocs, I'm just like, how are those comfortable? Much less ultimately comfortable, supposedly. So
I 100% agree. Especially because to me they don't have enough support. Like, that's actually not the. You need a harder surface that holds your foot so it doesn't actually.
All right, guys.
You need something to hold you.
It's not animal based, but we're doing it. In the comments, we are going to start. As always, you guys know any questions we bring up in the show. I like doing hypothetical questions or would you rather questions and stuff, fun stuff like that. But today, one of our questions is going to be in the community post on YouTube or the social posts over on Patreon. It is in the free section of Patreon, so you don't have to pay anything. It's just we're trying to consolidate areas so Maria's not posting in 50 different locations.
And so you see me writing right now is because I want to post. I mean, I watched the video again, but just in case.
So that's going to be it, guys. If you hate Crocs or love Crocs, why do people love Crocs? Give us a story about Crocs. I want to know more about Crocs. Now we're going to move on and tell you more about crocodiles. So we'll go ahead and put the Crocs part away.
Done. Love or hate, and why? Yes. That's basically it.
Speaking of hate, I know Maria's going to hate this next clip. So you can close your eyes if you want to, but it's going to make the show boring because without you responding, what are we doing here? But I'm just fair warning you now that you're not going to be a fan of the next clip, though it is extremely impressive. All right. Have you prepared yourself mentally?
I am in shock. Like, my adrenaline is running. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. Not always a turtle. Now, I stopped it there so we don't know how it ended up because Maria doesn't like to watch these things.
A snake. Like how beautiful.
Oh, it could have gotten away. We don't know. I'm going to leave it right there.
We also have to, I think I'm making my peace when it comes to somebody has to eat. You have to eat. And alligators have to eat. They're not vegetarian. I don't care how much you try to turn your pets vegetarian or not, but a cat, as we spoke or learned in our cat video, or we will learn in our cat video, Um, you can't, not every animal can become vegetarian. Not every critter can become kind and compassionate because that's our standard. We're adding a human component of
Mhm.
morality when what they're worried about is survival.
Yeah.
Survival of themselves, their species, and each animal just reacts based on what they need. So I couldn't expect to be sad about that. I'm learning to not be sad about that and appreciate the animals for what they have to do. So, I mean, it's beautiful to see a crocodile hunting. I feel bad for the snake. Again, we don't know if he came out, if he
Yeah.
was safe or not. But
So
again, somebody's gonna have to die in order for someone to live. It is the unfortunate truth in the animal
yeah,
kingdom.
and we've seen both sides of it too, because I know in the Everglades there was a picture of a snake that tried to eat an alligator that was too big for it, and it actually burst out of the sides of the snake because it literally bit off more than it could, well, not chew but digest.
That
Uh,
swallow.
yeah, so sometimes those battles can go either way. Again, I try to kind of, as much as you try to accept it and understand it, I still try to minimize the amount of clips we show on the show because there's a lot of people that are of the same mindset as you. We're here to have fun, maybe learn a few things and laugh a little bit. It's not really a who's gonna win this battle kind of show.
But speaking of that, there was a show I think I mentioned a couple of times. I haven't seen it lately, so I don't even know if it's still in air or not. Called Predator versus Prey, and the
Mhm.
way they showed it was not necessarily the gory hunting and the gory aspect of the hunt, but more like the skills that each animal had, almost like measuring teams,
Yeah,
like the best qualities and
yeah,
why these two are great contenders and why the attack has been like one of the things is about falcons against pigeons. You
okay,
will think a pigeon will always lose. Well, they have lots and lots of skills that are a match to a falcon.
okay,
So, I mean,
okay.
I just love that how animals adapt,
Yeah,
learn.
yeah. When they're in the
To
same
me, that's the
environment,
beauty.
and you get, yeah, exactly. I actually find it interesting the ones where the battles are pretty even. And not even as a battle, but just you'll see a snake eating a crocodile or an alligator, or an alligator crocodile eating a snake, and then so then you almost end up with this like Cold War where it's just like, okay, we can both take out each other. Let's go find something else. You know the
Let's
animal's
team
really,
up to get someone else out.
yeah, well, you know the animal's really hungry. It hasn't eaten in a long time, based on some of the animals it opts to hunt. And that one might have been, well, it's been a long time since I've eaten and this is available, so I'm going to have to take the risk and see if I can win this battle to survive. Um, but sometimes that's just the way things go. So
Mhm.
now in Predator versus Prey, here's my main question for this. The animals that don't have hands, how do they pray that they don't get eaten by the predator? How does this work out? I
Let's
couldn't
ponder
help
upon it.
myself. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I think I'm funny, and that's the important part here.
Oh gosh, that is
All
awesome.
right, let's cover. See, this is what happens when you have a pet. See, that I think is an alligator because it's got the rounded snout. So he snuck his
Look
way
how
into
cute
the
it
pet.
is.
Well, maybe not. No, I'm not
It has the
sure.
teeth showing.
What's that?
It has the teeth showing.
Is that what you go by?
Well, that's
Okay.
one of the techniques. If it closes its mouth and you still see their teeth,
Then it's an alligator.
a croc.
Oh, then it's a croc. Okay. Okay, guys, we're taking votes on this one now in the comments below also. Alligator or crocodile that he is petting the throat of?
What I love about that is look at what happens when he stops petting it. I mean, that is a very soft, gentle area
Yeah.
of the animal.
Yes.
And look at him. He's like, hello, pet me again.
Well, what most people don't realize, because I didn't let you know leading into the clip, is what happened. What had happened was, no, phrase, guys, inside joke. What happened was after in the last clip when he caught the snake, this is the after part, and this is really just the trainer helping him digest what's left of the snake. He's just helping push it down the gullet a little bit, giving him a little massage.
He should have had some stones then. Should have put
Right
some
there.
stones.
Yeah, well, he had some sticks to try to hunt a bird. It failed, and then so most people what Maria's referring to is actually when crocodiles and alligators want to weigh themselves down in the water, they actually will eat stones to kind of. It's basically ballast. If you've ever been in a submarine and stuff, as far as water tanks and balance and all that good stuff, but they will eat rocks as ballast essentially. So yes, they do sticks and stones, and their jaws will break your bones, and then will not hurt them. So if you guys are curious, that nursery rhyme might have been about a crocodile. Sticks and stones breaking
Is that a
bones.
nursery rhyme?
Man, some of those nursery rhymes are evil. Like London Bridges and like the Cradle one is all about the Black Death and stuff. Like, man, there are some like morbid histories to most nursery rhymes. They
The
are
ring around the
dark.
roses? That's
Yeah,
disgusting.
Three Roses about the Black Death. That's the one that I was talking about. Yeah, roses. Yeah, we're not going to go there.
But I don't know if the sticks and stones.
No, I think that's just more of a like a saying.
Yeah, Rihanna did a great job with that one.
Yeah, that it's been used many, many times. So since we're in a hunting strategy, Maria, you might want to also close your eyes on this one. We're just going to continue the theme. So we got eat snake, help with digestion. This one, this one's impressive. That's two sharks and a crocodile. And okay, that's it, guys. I was just joking. I was going to put it in our pre-attack videos, but I saw this and I'm just like, that's two sharks and a crocodile. What's going to happen here?
I just watched not too long a video, and it was a very aerial video. You see how light color it is. It's very light color. That's very typical of crocodiles. That's one of the more typical things is lighter color.
Gotcha.
But I was watching something like that, and it was so scary because this gigantic crocodile, and it's an aerial view, so you get to see the whole thing. So there's this
Okay.
gigantic crocodile passing through like a forest of kelp.
Okay.
But here comes a white shark. Like you can tell is a big shark, not a nurse shark, maybe could have been a tiger shark.
Okay.
And you think they're gonna go at it, and for a moment they kind of look at each other and they were thinking about the altercation, like what you were saying about we're kind of evenly matched. Do we really want to start this fight? Because
Yeah.
that was a humongous crocodile, and this
Mhm.
was a humongous shark, and you can just see that these two titans were considering taking each other out and decided not to. But it was one of those you're like,
A lot of times those situations are with it's usually Australia, but it's usually a bull shark because bull sharks can actually survive in salt and fresh water. So they do pretty well in those areas, those environments of brackish water where a lot of crocodiles and stuff like to be. So most of the time, if you ever see like a large crocodilian and a shark species, it's usually a salty and a bull shark. I don't know if it's salty for sure, but it's usually a bull shark.
it
And
is a salty. I mean, Australia has the salties.
well, they have freshwater crocodiles also. That was one of the facts I was talking about. Is they were actually I didn't get to it when we were talking about the vertical launching. There was a video done. I think the BBC was filming one of the series that they like to do, and the freshwater crocodiles actually became the stars of the show because they found freshwater crocodiles actually vertically attacking flying foxes or large bats and literally pulling them out of the air. I'm pretty sure it was a bat. I'm going to make sure I get my information straight here. Maria, entertain everybody. Entertain everybody.
Well, talking about, I don't even have to entertain you guys. This story is entertaining enough. There's a story. We actually, in another video, we mentioned it about the little cages where you can go swimming. So in one of the videos that you will, in one of the community posts, you will, if you kind of go back a couple of weeks, you will see there is a picture of this guy inside next to a salty, and they are so gigantic. Like this is no joke. Like your body is almost the size of its head and maybe just a little bit of the chest. That's how majestic they are. And there was a story about bull sharks, that there was an attack in one of the River Monsters episodes.
Okay.
They were talking about it was an attack on a horse and they couldn't figure out what it was and they thought it was a crocodile. Well, one of the dams had broken due to too much rain, and it broke some of the dams that were going to the ocean. So the bull shark entered this river, and it was really
Ah.
far into the river. So when they did an analysis of the bite marks, they were like, "This is not a crocodile. It was a shark."
For sure. So let's see. I just backtracked to make sure I got the information straight, but it was a freshwater crocodile, and they were filming the BBC documentary "Wonders of the Monsoon," and yeah, they were jumping out and grabbing flying foxes as they swooped along the river. Yeah. And they were talking too. It wasn't something about their parallax vision and the way they can see. Their vision's actually pretty good as far as accuracy while they're vertically launching themselves to also figure out the angle. We've talked about this in reverse about any animals, like seagulls and stuff that actually will permeate the water, go down, grab a fish, and come up. How difficult that really is. As humans, we don't realize when you're walking in the water. You're walking in the water.
Okay, Jesus.
When you're walking in the water, but if you're in a boat or something and you're looking down in the water, the way the light rays hit it, it actually changes angles and stuff. So
The reflection.
yeah, the amount of skill that takes is pretty ridiculous. Yeah. You want to see some funny crocodiles?
I love crocodiles. Show me.
We've got one funny crocodile that we like to show off.
Clown crocodile.
Yes, a crocodile, because he's got a big clunky thing on his nose.
Oh gosh.
There's the turtle again.
Look at his. Is it a
Gharial. I forget how to pronounce it, but yeah, it's
Gharial.
Gharial. They're from India, so you'll see that type of crocodile over there with the super pointy noses. I always think of them as kind of like the hammerhead sharks of the crocodile world. They're just kind of funky looking, but kind of adorable at the same time.
So instead of a hammer, this is the nail.
Right, the nail head crocodile and the hammerhead shark. They don't cross regions very often, but when they do, man, do they catch up on old times. Like of all parties, yes. So if you were at a party, Maria, in someone's house, what two sea creatures would you like to see just chopping it up in the corner somewhere? So I was watching the Friends reunion, basically, and they were saying how they don't keep up with each other as much, but whenever they see each other at a party or something, basically the party's over because they end up talking all night and finding a corner and just hanging out and catching up with one another. It was during the reunion show. So in that same vein, what two animals do you think, if they were kind of like cross each other on dry land at a party, would just be like, oh, we got to catch up. Party's over. Like, we'll be over in the corner, everybody.
Sea animals.
Sea animal. I think it makes it more interesting to see like a sea lion and a dolphin just chilling in the corner of a party.
To see a sea animal.
Yes. To view a water-based species hanging out.
Allophilic.
Aloe vera. No, we're not talking about sunburns now. Hold on. No. If you're like, all right, all these many cartoons and of talking animals and people out of water and the Little Mermaid, we won't get into that and all the other good stuff. Like, what couple animals? You just be like, man, I want to be in on that conversation. What are they talking about? I'll let you guys know, by the way. What they're talking about is the selection of sushi on the buffet for the food. That's really what they're talking about. Whatever animal she picks, they're talking about the sushi.
Is that Cousin Vinny? Is that Cousin Vinny there? That was awful.
No, you're talking about, I was thinking about Weekend at Bernie's, and they're just made
So if I were to think about it, I think it would be really cool to hear the conversation between, I will choose an octopus.
Okay.
Obvious choice.
Okay.
And a shark whale.
Whale shark.
Whale shark.
Yes. Okay. So the octopus, you may not have known this, but the octopus was clumsy. So I've nicknamed him Tangly for the purposes of this conversation. And of course, the whale shark has to be tiny. I mean, it's, that's just it. So Tangly and Tiny are hanging out at a party in the corner, and what are Tangly and Tiny talking about?
You're the one who's coming up with these concepts. I came up with the characters. Go.
I said they were talking about the sushi. I've already given my idea of what they're, which
The
isn't
reason
good.
why I chose them, to me, why I found them to be an interesting choice, is because they're such opposites in their ways of being seen,
Okay.
what they hunt, and what they are. So when you think of a whale shark, you think of gigantic, majestic, but they are filtered. They filter their prey. But when you think of an octopus is almost a mimic. They can change into whatever they want, and they really can hunt fish, crabs, anything and everything. So you almost think it should be the other way around, because whale shark, you will think it will be an aggressive, tenacious creature, but it's the complete opposite. So I chose a little bit of the slight opposites that I could think of.
Okay. Okay. So now that's exactly the rationale Maria used when she picked the animals for our logo. Because you guys know how much she loves big cats, and then she tried to think of the opposite of what a big cat would be, and then she went with the chameleon for the other side of it. So you can't pick those two. What two land animals are hanging out in the opposite corner of the party, having their own conversation about the sushi? What?
An otter and a cockroach.
Are you sure about those choices?
They're horrible. The cockroach is absolutely horrible, but the otters are awesome.
Okay. Okay.
So I wanted to go again with very opposite.
Okay. Are they
Huge
playing catch
predator
with
and
the
a
otter's
scavenger.
favorite stone? Are they just like throwing the stone back and forth, just hanging out, playing catch? No?
Brain
Okay.
catch.
Okay.
How
You guys
much you
didn't
come
have
with?
much.
So the otter is telling the cockroach, "Can you carry this stone?" And the cockroaches are so strong. They're like, "Yeah, hand me two. I'll show
Gotcha.
you."
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
That's the whole
Just so you
conversation.
guys know, we've done a previous video. A couple times we've mentioned it, but otters actually have like a favorite stone, and they'll actually store it and they use it to like crack open things and they'll play with it and stuff. But they actually have like a pouch that they keep the stone in. So it's used as a tool. It's used for playing. Really interesting animal tool dynamic. There's not really another animal that I can think of that there's other animals that use tools, but it's because they happen to be handy.
Yeah, but for
Um,
toys.
yeah, exactly. It's a tool and a toy, and they keep it. It's not like so they've seen chimpanzees with sticks eating ants that they'll put into the mounds and let the ants climb up the stick and then eat. I've seen photos of orangutans with sticks. I still don't know if that one's photoshopped or not. Do you know which one I'm talking about? The orangutan.
Yes, the orangutan is hanging out like this,
Yeah, and it looks like he's about to like go fishing, like spear
like a
fishing.
spear.
Yes. Do you think that's real or do you think that's photoshopped? I know it's not video forensics. It would be photo forensics, and we're not looking at it. But Maria likes to break these things down on occasion. Do you think that's a real photo or photoshopped?
Orangutan. They're very smart creatures.
They use tools, but I don't know about fishing in that manner.
That's what I was wondering, because I will have to do a little bit more research on, are they Sumatran? Are they like, where are they? Because I know they're arboreal, so they don't necessarily need to. So
Yeah, I
I'm not
don't know.
sure. I have to do more research on orangutan behavior for me to be able to give the forensics, because I don't know that much about it. I know they
Okay.
eat a lot of berries, and I know they learn from one another. There was a beautiful video I was watching about Indonesia and how the orangutans learn from one another, and how the males, they're very solitary, but when it comes time to eating, there is a particular tree they like, but it's actually very hard to grab their little seeds from it. So they learn from each other, and they do use the tools. But I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'll have to do more research on that one. I almost think it is, because I thought it was a photo that had won awards.
I don't think that they are vegetarians. I don't think any primates are vegetarians, actually, completely. Maybe if you get down to tarsiers and stuff like that, but I'm not too
Yeah.
sure about that. And they do. They're all in that same Borneo area. So I mean, that orangutan is one of those species that are very limited. Their range is very, not their range, but the areas they live in, that's it. I mean, it's kind of like the panda. There's just very isolated one pocket, and that's about it.
That's it.
Um, it would be interesting to look. Hey guys, we'll do that in the comments also. Let us know. We'll post the photo so you know exactly what we're talking about.
Mhm.
And again, we're coming at this from we don't have the background on the animal. And actually, this is a perfect example. So I'll just kind of pause now. A lot of these videos that we do for the podcast are kind of fun, and we show the clips, we swap the knowledge that we know, but we don't know everything about every animal. But somebody did challenge us and requested that we start doing animal like fact videos so they could actually learn interesting things about the animal. So Maria and I put our heads together, and what we did is we came up with, it's in podcast form, but it's mostly fact. It's not us kind of just generally chatting. It's more fact based. And we each kind of scour the internet, do our own research, and what we try to come back with and present to you guys is some facts, and then we try to go over some stories. So it's not just, neither of us really like the orangutans can lift this much, orangutans can run this fast, orangutans sleep during the day. It's more fun stuff like obscure facts, stories, orangutan thief that tried to break into a car, all this kind of fun stuff. So what we'll do is we'll do an orangutan fact video, Mar. That way we can each have an opportunity to learn.
We'll love to.
Give us an opportunity to kind of inform you guys a little more.
Mm-hmm.
So far, people have enjoyed them. We've done cats and dogs and elephants. We've done a few so far. But it seems like everybody's enjoying them. So I would suggest you guys go check them out. And yeah, we'll put orangutan on the list. And then if you guys have other suggestions of animals you would like us to cover, also you can write that in this same discussion, or we'll start a separate post. What do you think, Mar?
We can probably start a separate post so we can see it.
All right.
Easier.
Yeah. And then if you guys are the ones and we picked it because you guys suggested it, we'll definitely give you a little shout out during the episode for having suggested the animal. Please don't pick it.
If it hasn't been recorded yet.
Yeah. We like to have some.
Because we already did a couple of animals, so if you say cats again, I'm sorry, that got recorded.
We can give you a type shout out if the show is already in process by the time you guys mention it. We enjoy doing kind of lions and bears and some of the bigger animals that there's more information. Oh my. We really like doing some of the like red pandas are really interesting animals. There's just not that much about them out there. There's also not that many fun stories about red pandas. They don't like escape the zoo or break into anything or have weird traits. And sometimes that's the fun stuff for us. We also like to do little quizzes and stuff where it's kind of like, okay, what was the one during the cat video? I was asking you like, what's the highest height a cat has fallen from and survived? And then we kind of went back and forth and 16 floors. There you go. It was about 200 feet actually. So, but we get to go back and forth and debate it. So the last section is kind of Jeopardy style. So you guys can yell at the screen because we're idiots and just like, hey, Maria, how many feet does a cat have? 4. Come on. How do you not know this? It's 4.
Hey, there's some that are born with 5 or 6.
True. But you guys can have some fun when you already know the answer and the other person's trying to come up with it. We've enjoyed recording them. We're going to keep doing them. We're glad you guys suggested them, but I just felt this was a good spot for it, guys. So we need to continue our Croc shoe conversation over in backstage. What do you think, Mar? We'll transition. We've already transitioned away from the Crocodiles. I also would like to know if people have a favorite. So that will be the last question or social post for the episode. If you guys have a favorite crocodilian species, or we can just do what's cooler, an alligator or a crocodile. But I like to leave it open to all of them. Because that Gharial, I don't know how to pronounce it, guys. I wish I did, but the Indian
Gharial.
dog. Yes. That guy's my favorite just because I love the shape of his mouth and the bump on his nose, and he's just.
Isn't he? There's one crocodile that is vegetarian. It must be that one from India.
No, I think those eat fish. Like that's what that snout is specifically designed.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Actually, they're having problems reproducing because the fish sizes that they can eat is very specific. I remember now. The fish size they can eat is very specific.
Yeah.
And that's what the hunters are not allowing to get to that size, the fishermen. So they're having issues trying to, because you can see their snout is very small.
Yeah. If they can't actually bite and dig in and kill the animal and then kind of reorganize it and go for it, then it's hard for them to eat. So if the fish is too small, it doesn't hit the teeth. And that was the other bit that I was going to share as we were talking. We had a previous video about crocodiles and birds specifically, like that pairing and how interesting that dynamic is. There's a ton of funny videos about those guys. Like I was really surprised we were able to do an entire video about.
I was amazed.
And birds, and it was really fun. But they had.
We also did alligators in Florida, which I couldn't believe we talked that much about it.
So that was the last bit of fun info. If you guys actually, you know, we'll do it as a quiz style. Mar, do you know why crocodiles and alligators are often seen with their mouths wide open?
They're sunbathing.
If you guys see them in the wild, you'll see this. A lot of times they just hang out with their mouth open.
Well, it could be because they're waiting for it to hunt, like they're waiting for someone to land, or they're just sunbathing. But it could
Okay.
also be a sign of territorial move. Now, when they're babies and they do that, they're usually making noises for their mom. So there's actually many reasons.
Why would another animal, think of a dog, why would a dog sit there with its mouth open?
Hot.
Exactly. So you'll rarely ever see, guys, a crocodile out in the sun with its mouth open also, because the mouth open is to cool down. The out in the sun is to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes they kind of overheat a little and will open their mouths to cool down a bit, just to kind of get that little bit of regulation. But that's typically why you see it. Unless the crocodile is from Egypt. In which case, and we referenced this in another video before also, there is a little bird that's actually the Egyptian plover, sometimes called the crocodile bird, that actually picks the meat out from the crocodile's teeth. So it's a symbiotic relationship where they get a nice dental cleaning and the birds get a meal. And so that it's really interesting to see a bird hanging out on a croc tooth, picking out the food from in between the croc teeth.
That's incredible.
But it's a very unique symbiotic relationship that specific bird and the crocodiles in Egypt actually have amongst themselves. All right, guys, if you want some more fun facts, quizzes, good stuff like that, check out the crocodile fact video. That's not sure if it's out already or not. We will figure out the timing on that one. And give us some suggestions. Maria and I will record a orangutan fact video.
For sure.
We're going to jump on over to the backstage. If you guys are Patreon subscribers, the actual paid section. We have the free section with all the social posts. We get the paid section with all the extra fun stuff. And this is going to be our backstage show where after every episode, facts or podcasts like this, we jump over there. We continue the conversation. We review stuff that we said right, stuff that we said wrong, things we found funny, things we didn't want to say, or we get onto totally random conversations like croc shoes instead of crocodiles. Apparently Peeps is calling attention, so we will let her make her appearance in the backstage show. You guys, we had a blast as always. Hope to see you guys next time, and you guys stay safe. Thank you very much for viewing. Have a fantastic day. Bye.